So earlier today, I finally came around to watching the movie The Accountant, and it actually turned out to be a movie that's almost more about autism than it is accounting. So if you think about it, the movie could have also been called The Autist. Okay, but jokes aside, it's definitely been a movie that I've had on my list for a while now because I've heard so many people say such great things about it. And I thought now that The Accountant 2 is about to release, it's about damn time that I give this movie a shot. And I had very high expectations for this movie because I heard so many great things about it. And I think because of these very high expectations, for me, the movie actually ended up coming a bit short to these expectations. But that's not supposed to mean that it is a bad movie. Like, I definitely get why people really like it, and it has a lot of things going for it, and I still had a great time watching it. It's just that it didn't quite meet my very high expectations. But still, I think there's a lot of great and interesting things to talk about, so that's what I want to do in this video. And as always, I categorize it into 4 questions that I want to answer in this video. So let's get to it. So the first question I want to talk about is what amazed me the most about this movie? And there, quite surprisingly, I have to say, what really amazed me and I'll remember for a long time is Ben Affleck's performance. Like, I think he did such a great job in this movie of portraying this very interesting character, like having that mental disorder of autism and growing up as having a rough childhood, then growing up to be an accountant that does sometimes normal accountant work, but most of the time accountant work for some shady organizations, and then on the side is also like a really good marksman and is really good in hand-to-hand combat and is also socially awkward and still really intelligent. Like, very interesting character, and I think this time in that movie, or that unique character, really gave him a chance to flex his acting muscles, which I didn't know that they were as good before I watched this movie. Like, I definitely liked Ben Affleck. He's been in a lot of movies. He's been in the Batman movies. I remember him from even movies like Good Will Hunting. And I was never disappointed with his acting. But most of the time he wasn't really the acting star for me. But this time in this movie, man, he really impressed me. Like, he portrayed that character in a very amazing way. I really liked his presence, the way he portrayed that social awkwardness, but then still had that physical strength, that physical presence, so you could really made you buy that character of an intelligent accountant that is still physically really dangerous. And it almost seems like he was tired of being like the less intelligent, the less cool version in movies that he has together with Matt Damon. Like in Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon was the really intelligent character, and then Matt Damon also had the Jason Bourne movies. And it really felt like he looked at those performances and was like, I want my own movie where I can be intelligent, I can be unique, and I can also be really cool in action scenes. And yeah, he got that movie, and he definitely did a great job portraying that character, in my opinion. And the next inevitable question that I want to answer is, did this movie hype me for The Accountant 2? And that question I can answer with a very clear yes. I'm very interested in the next Accountant movie. And now you might be wondering, why am I that interested in the next Accountant movie? Didn't I just say that this movie didn't quite reach my expectations? And the reason for that is that, at least judging by the trailers for the next Accountant movie, basically everything that I really liked about the first movie we're getting more of, and things that I didn't like so much about the first movie, it seems like we're getting less of that. And what I mean by that is, the main thing that I really liked about the first Accountant movie, as you could kind of judge by how I answered the first question, was just generally the character of the accountant. I think it's a very interesting character, so I can't wait to get more of that character. I think he has a lot of potential, and especially now that the character has been kind of established in the first movie, I think the second movie has a chance to take this character a lot further, so I can't wait for that. I also think that in the first movie, the connection the two brothers had was really interesting, and I didn't see that coming, that the bad guy, or at least the person hired by the bad guy, ended up being the accountant's brother. So we're getting a lot more of these two brothers in the next movie, so I think that could be awesome. And then what I also liked is I really liked the action scenes in the first Accountant movie. But while I like the action scenes, it didn't have as much action scenes as I would have liked, at least from my liking. And again, judging by the trailers, we're gonna get a lot more action scenes. And also what I like is that, again, just judging by the trailer, they're diving a bit more into the humor aspect, making it a bit more lighthearted. And that personally for me is, I think, something that I'm gonna like, because the first Accountant movie, while I like the story, I think it had some pacing issues at times, and I think making it a bit more lighthearted and adding some humor to that could make it a lot more enjoyable for me, especially then combined with these two brothers, the interesting character of the accountant, and some more action scenes. So yeah, really can't wait for that, because the first movie already made me laugh quite a bit with that social awkwardness about the accountant. And I think, although that movie I feel like didn't even really try, so if they actually try to make it a bit more funny, I think it has potential for some hilarious scenes. So yeah, I'm definitely very interested in watching The Accountant 2 after having watched The Accountant for the first time. And the next question I always like to talk about is, what were my 3 favorite scenes? And the first favorite scene for me was after the first action scene that we really got, where the accountant fought off these 2 invaders that were kind of using some friends or clients of his to kill the accountant. And then after having that battle in their garden basically, and the 2 of them almost dying, he just waved them goodbye. Oh, he didn't like that. Okay. Just another day at the office. Yeah, I think that's just one of these scenes that perfectly plays into that social awkwardness of the accountant that I really liked, and I think was really funny, although they weren't really trying to be funny. So yeah, it's one of those scenes that just makes this character unique and allows for some very funny moments. My next favorite scene was the accounting montage. It's a very cinematic way of doing accounting. I wonder how like the directors were like, okay, we're gonna do an accounting montage. I guess the scene itself isn't anything crazy really, but for some reason I just found it so funny and ironic to get a big budget movie showing us a scene where they want to make accounting look really cool and cinematic. And I think they did a great job at it. I think it worked. Although I couldn't help but think about how he in real life would have probably used an Excel document instead of writing everything on the wall. But hey, that wouldn't have been as cinematic. So yeah, just funny. A funny scene, and see how they made that vision of having him look cool while doing accounting and making that vision reality. And I think they managed to do it. And my third favorite scene was, living in this van alone would be weird.
I don't live here. This is a storage unit. It would be weird.
That's what would be weird.
Yeah, it would be very weird to live there. Everything else you're doing is completely normal. Normal accounting stuff. Yeah, what can I say? I guess I really like the social awkwardness of the accountant while still being a really cool marksman. So yeah, probably that's why I can't wait for The Accountant 2 and the a bit more lighthearted and humor side of things, because I think all these scenes, how he answered things, it was hilarious. I really liked it. I'm not sure if it was the script, the character, or Ben Affleck's performance, or also how Anna Kendrick reacted to his social awkward moments. Whatever the case may be, I really liked it, and I can't wait to get more of that. And the fourth and last question I want to answer when reflecting on this movie is a bit more on the serious side of things, and it's, what's my favorite theme or message in this movie? Because in this case, as I kind of jokingly said at the beginning of this video, how this movie was almost more about autism than it was accounting, there was a serious message behind that. And that message was that if you let society set the expectations for people with mental disorders, it starts low and it stays low. Although disorders can make people exceptional in areas other people couldn't even imagine. So people with disorders aren't any less than other people, they're just different. And that message is something that I really liked, and it was also portrayed throughout the movie by an amazing performance by Ben Affleck, and with this unique character of the accountant, how He had a rough childhood and was always struggling with his autism. But we see throughout the movie that although he's struggling with these things, and yeah, he's socially awkward and all that, there are areas like, for example, math, where he really excels in and is incredibly intelligent. And it would be such a shame to think of these people as any less great or any less relevant than other people. So although I myself am gladly not struggling with any mental disorders and admittedly don't have any friends that are struggling with mental disorders, I know that it's a big topic, and I'm sure for everyone that is even kind of struggling with a mental disorder, and for people that are actually struggling with autism, like, this movie must be the best movie they've ever seen. Like, I really like that it took that topic seriously, and I think it was a great and heartwarming message, and yeah, I hope that it helped many people out there. So that concludes my thoughts on The Accountant. If you're interested and haven't seen it already, you can go check out my reaction to the first time watching The Accountant. So maybe I'll see you over there, or otherwise, hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.